Hello everyone, welcome to VloFlo TV News at 10. Tonight we are talking about the Margaret River tragedy that left 3 adults and 4 children found dead in Western Australia town. Katrina Miles with her 4 children. A mother and her 4 children are among the victims in a mass shooting that left 7 people dead on a property in rural Western Australia in an apparent murder-suicide. The slaying of 7 people, including 4 children, in an apparent murder-suicide near Margaret River, is Australia's worst mass shooting since the Port Arthur massacre in 1996. Police were called to the property in Osmington, West Australia, about 5:50 am, and found the bodies of 3 adults and 4 children. It is understood police found the bodies of Katrina Miles and her children, aged 8 to 13, after receiving a phone call from a male person about 5 am local time on Friday. Cinda Miles lived at the rural property where 7 people were found dead. She owned a farm with Peter Miles but Cinda Miles lived at the rural property where 7 people were found dead. She owned a farm with Peter Miles but their involvement in the shooting has not been confirmed. The property, a 30-acre hobby farm, is owned by Cinda and Peter Miles who bought it in late 2014, but their involvement in the tragedy has not been confirmed, What Today reported. Katrina Miles was living with her parents. Read more. Australia's firearm arsenal at the highest level since Port Arthur massacre. Port Arthur massacre anniversary, how shooting was an end and a beginning. No one is being sought for the killings. Police at the Osmington Road property, the scene of Australia's worst mass shooting since the Port Arthur massacre in 1996. Justin Benson, Cooper. Police at the Osmington Road property, the scene of Australia's worst mass shooting since the Port Arthur massacre in 1996. Cinda Miles has been a stalwart in the sustainability community, volunteering with a local transition network and leading recycling initiatives including Cinda's Soft Salvage. Peter Miles worked as a farmer and teacher and was formerly the manager of the Margaret River High School farm. The Sydney Morning Herald understands their 4 grandchildren were schooled at the sprawling homestead, among gardens full of fruit trees and flowering natives. Major crime officers are en route to the crime scene in Osmington, near Margaret River in Western Australia. Major crime officers are en route to the crime scene in Osmington, near Margaret River in Western Australia. Members of the community said the couple was civic-minded and respected members of a happy, wonderful family. Police describe situation as horrific. War Police Commissioner Chris Dawson would not confirm exactly how the 7 died, but they were found with gunshot wounds. He said the bodies of 2 adults were found outside a building on the property, and 5 bodies were found inside. Police are yet to formally identify any of the victims. Police at the property where an apparent mass shooting left 3 adults and 4 children dead near the Western. Nicolette Lefebvre. Police at the property where an apparent mass shooting left 3 adults and 4 children dead near the Western Australia town of Margaret River. In a statement to us, Sky News Australia talk about the event. War Police Commissioner Chris Dawson, police are responding to a horrific incident in Margaret River. Police were called to a rural property in Osmington and discovered the bodies of 4 children and 3 adults. It appears that gunshot wounds are there, but I don't want to go further than that, as 2 firearms have been located at the scene. He said the bodies of 2 adults were found outside a building on the property, and 5 bodies were found inside. Specialist units from Perth, including the Homicide Squad and Forensic Crime Scene Unit, have been sent to the scene. The Commissioner would not speculate on a motive but said that, at this point, police had no concerns about wider public safety. He could not reveal any more about the identity of the people either, as police were still trying to locate next of kin, but he said police believed all 7 appeared to be residents of that property. the rural property in Western Australia where the shooting is believed to have occurred. Dawson said it was a significant tragedy, one he could only describe as horrific. This devastating tragedy will no doubt have a lasting impact on the families concerned, the communities and our staff in the southwest. The commissioner said the police chaplain has been called to attend the scene of the tragedy to support the emergency services on the scene. The shooting happened at a rural property near Margaret River in Western Australia. Look, this is a horrific tragedy for any person involved, and clearly officers and other first responders attending these sorts of scenes. It is very tragic, Dawson said. So we have support with the police chaplain, other counsellors that will also be in attendance. We will get on with our job regrettably, these tragedies do take their toll on everyone. He asked for anyone who knew anything about the incident to contact police. Police had blocked the road in Osmington. Nicolette Lefebvre. Police had blocked the road in Osmington. The loss of any life is tragic, but 4 children and 3 adults, this is a significant tragedy, he said. A community in shock. Margaret River Mail reporter Nikki Lefebvre is at the scene. She said locals were falling apart with news those dead were from a well-known local family heavily involved in community events. At this stage, there are no details on what led to the shooting. Neighbor Rob Brown lives in the house across the road from the property where the shooting took place. He said detectives came to speak to him at 9:30 am today, but he hadn't heard loud noises or any unusual sounds coming from the property overnight. There was nothing much I could tell them, said the semi-retired farmer. Brown said he came down to the farm on weekends from Perth, so he didn't know the residents of the property very well. I'd seen who I assume was the further out in a paddock one day, on a tractor. But I didn't have the opportunity to say hello. Forensic vans, police, and detectives are still arriving at the property. The local newspaper reporter said Margaret River was currently in protection mode. We're banding together, she said. That's what Margaret River does. The president of the Shire of Augusta, Margaret River, has told how the tragic deaths at a property southwest of Perth have impacted upon everyone in the area. It's sending shockwaves through the whole community. We're all linked in one way or another, every family, Shire President Pamela Townshend said. Townshend described Cinda Miles as a lovely, open-hearted, generous woman, embedded and active in the community, committed to the sustainability movement and very well known. Townshend said a fellow counsellor in a social work collective was mobilising social work connections to begin supporting people in the community in every way possible. Mass shooting rocks picturesque tourist town. Away from the surf breaks and wineries the southwest region is renowned for, the vineyards give way to paddocks full of sheep and cattle. Winding tree-lined roads take tourists and locals through the undulating landscape to Osmington, east of Margaret River. It is now the scene of one of the worst Australian shooting crimes in recent memory. The crime scene is so extensive, senior police expect to be at the site for up to 5 days. It's a crime scene and we've got to figure out what happened, the region's top cop, Superintendent Mick Sutherland, told a media pack on Friday afternoon. We expect to be here for up to 5 days. Several locals were allowed to drive down Osmington Road past the cordoned-off scene and to their homes and places of work. Some would have been aware of the tragedy that had just unfolded nearby. Others may not have been. But they will be soon. This is a crime that will soon be known all over the country. One local who wished not to be named described the family at the center of the tragedy as quiet. They kept to themselves, although I did try to reach out to them and make contact, he said. This is just a quiet neck of the woods. Who would believe it? But such was the horror local officers discovered in these quiet back roads of Margaret River. A police chaplain was brought down to counsel the first responders. Credit to the Sydney Morning Herald and stuff.co.nz. VloFlo's hearts go out to the 7 victims. More information on this story and other developing story is coming soon. Thank you and good night. From the team at VloFlo.